Alright, so this is Matt Mrozik. This will be work in progress number 6 on the Alpha3 Mark DeMello Batman. So I got the gray done last night and it looks really good, and Mark signed off on it. So what I have to do next is I have to spray the skin tone, and it's only just on the face. So because I need to spray that so I can mask it off and move on to the blue. So right now it's just the Stynylrez Res gray primer. What I'm going to use for a base coat for the skin is the Stynylrez Res Flesh Tone Primer. So you take this up and get some of that on there, and this will give me a good starting point for flesh tones. I pull way too much in my cup. I'll go ahead and turn the fan on. I just need to mist this on. It's real light. I don't need a lot. I should see a little dust in there. I should have wiped this down first with my tap cloth. Second. I'll make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna just on the Stynylrez Res. This is a great base coat for skin tones. Alright, so that's it for that step. I'm going to let that dry for about 10 minutes. We'll come back and do the rest. Okay, so Stynylrez Res, you just got to spray it on and let it dry for 5 or 10 minutes. And so I don't have a formula for skin tones. Skin is still challenging for me, so I just kind of I play with it till I kind of get a look I want. So I'm going to start off with, I have Garage Kits US, GarageKits.us colors here. I've got a bunch of skin tones. I've got transparent, pale flesh, semi-transparent Garage Kit flesh, medium African flesh, semi-transparent medium African flesh, and Garage Kits. So I tend to use the semi-transparent medium African flesh kind of like as a shadow tone. So this is one of the few times where we're going to actually lower my PSI pretty low. So I'm going to go in there right around 10 or so, and I work pretty quick, so I'm just going to put a few drops of this in my brush. I don't need much, like 2 drops, maybe 3, and I'm going to come in real tight, and I'm going to hit the cleft of the chin, any little recesses and stuff. So check my flow, and it's barely coming out, so let's see if you guys can see what I'm doing. Just like that. See a little, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a little shadow there now on the cleft of his chin. Again, this is tough because I'm trying to show you what I'm doing while I'm on camera. So let me try. I'm going to do this. What's the best way? It's always tough. If I come like this. Alright, so now I'm going to kind of hit all these little recesses and wrinkles. Let's see what we can do here. I think it's pretty tight. And this is it's barely coming out. So there. So we're going to make these pretty dramatic at first. Just like there. The shadows are going to be hard at first, then we'll go back and blend them in later. We're going to do several layers until I get the look I want. Sometimes the air pressure is so low the paint doesn't want to come out. Come on. And I'm going to hit the edge here of the cowl. So, I'm not going to worry about the lips later because I'm going to go in there and paint that a different color. So far, this is kind of what we got. Pretty harsh shadows going on, which is fine because we're going to go back and forth so we get the look we want. And this could take a while because, again, I don't have a formula for skin. I know some guys they do with this color, then this color, and then another color, and they're done. I don't do that yet. Jim Capone has a lot of kind of formulas he uses, but even then he's constantly shifting things and doing stuff. So there's those shadows. I'm going to clean up this airbrush real quick. Some Garage Kit's cleaner here. This being an acrylic, it likes to dry tip. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to add some kind of like highlights. With pale flesh. So I'm going to use pale flesh. I'm not sure there's a bearing in here or not. So I'll make sure this is shaken up well. I'll get myself a paint shaker. Alright, so I got some pale flesh here. Just going to put a few drops of that in. Again, like 2 or 3, because again, we're using very small amounts here. Keep my air pressure right where it is. And come in here and just kind of hit the high spots. I really want to really kind of get it more dramatic, I can kind of spray this coming from the top down. It's real light. Just like this. Just misting it on there real light. So that kind of helps it there. So now we're kind of getting some. I'm getting like it's actually looking pretty good already right there. It's pretty contrasting the camera, but it's looking good. So now what we're going to do is kind of I like the direction that's going, and that's just the pale flesh. I've got some transparent pale flesh. I'm going to mist that on super light. Because this actually tends to make it almost a little orange, this transparent pale flesh. So I don't want it too dramatic. So I got my airbrush way back here. Just kind of shifting the color a little bit. Don't drop them because I'll break the ears. Okay, so now he's kind of gone a little warm, which is fine. This transparent pale flesh it's interesting because the pale flesh is more of really a fleshy tone. The transparent seems to have a lot of warmth in it, a lot of orange. It's kind of weird to me. So now what we're going to do is that's actually looking pretty good. He's just looking a little kind of orange to me. I've got some semi-transparent garage kit flesh. Again, I'm just going to kind of mist that on. Try to shift this back more to not quite as warm. Still maintaining kind of the shading we did earlier. And this may get us right where I want it. This seems to be doing pretty good right here. I'm actually liking that a lot right there. So I think I may be done. In the camera it's very contrasty, but trust me, in person it's not that contrasty. I'm going to put a little bit more of this on. But I'm kind of digging that right there. I'm off camera right now. I just want to take a look at it. Come under some softer light. The chin's a little harsh. Kind of come from the top again. It's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to go back to the Garage Kit's Flesh. So now I'm going back to Garage Kit's Flesh, just plain old flesh. It's looking pretty good, actually. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Still a little bit on the warm side, though. And I'm way back here, just really lightly misting this on. I don't want to lose all my shading. Great thing about this, it's just back and forth until I get what I want. And this is getting there. I actually like that a lot. I think I'm going to call him done. Sorry, I'm off camera. I want to see this under some softer light. underneath the chin. Okay, so he looks really good in person. Yeah, it looks really natural. I mean, I'm looking at my arm, and it looks pretty damn spot on to like a natural skin tone. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this with some Testors Dull Coat. I'm going to hit this with a hairdryer real quick just to dry it down for a second. And I've got some Testors Dull Coat somewhere in here. I had it last night. Where'd it go? Oh, it's right here in front of me. I shake this up really good. Throw on the fan, get this on a clamp. And we're going to seal this. That. I'm going to hit it with a hairdryer. Sorry, I'm off camera again. Thinking I like this. I'll go with some pastels probably a little bit later, and again just kind of accentuate the shadows a little more. And I'm going to paint the lips. I'll put a glaze of something on them to kind of make them stand out. But as far as his face goes, I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, I think that looks really good. So that's it for the skin tones. What I'll do is I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. And then I'm going to sleep putty the face. And I'm going to start working on the blue tonight because that's the next hurdle. Big color is the blue. So I got to hit the cowl, the cape, and the boots and everything else. So I bought a bunch of paints to play with that. So I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. And then we'll hit the blue. So I'm going to call this work in progress done. Skin tones. For the most part. Well, maybe not. We'll keep on going. I'll come back later. Bye. Alright, well, while the head's drying, I can go ahead and start masking the boots off at least. So that's going to dry a little bit. I'm going to try to get the blue sprayed tonight, which is the hands, the cowl, the boots, and the cape. So it's a pretty big quite challenge. Hopefully I'll get that done tonight. So this was sprayed yesterday and did all the washes and everything, and it looks really, really good. Really happy with how this turned out. And I'll probably go back and I'll get a little additional, some dry brushing later to bring up the highlights a little more, but man, big improvement compared to where he was. So now that he's dry, I'm going to go ahead and mask him off. So I'm going to use some Tamiya tape. Got one glove on to handle the statue. Sometimes I'll mask with gloves on, but this tape likes to stick to the gloves really, like it likes to stick a lot. So I'm going to use one glove to handle the statue and one to put tape on. And I'm just going to do a tape test real quick, even though I'm pretty sure this is not going to come off. But I like to stick it on a statue and rip it off and make sure, or the model, make sure it's not going to, paint's not going to peel. So I've done taping tutorials before, but I figured I'll show you again on this guy. So I got myself a nice new X-Acto blade. I forgot one tool real quick. 1 second. Hold on, please. There we go. I got my little skewer tool. I'll just make a new one. Basically, I take a one skewer and I kind of sharpen the edge a little, the tip. And I just blunt it a little bit because I don't want a sharp tip. And I'm just going to cut up some small pieces of tape to the side here. Smaller pieces, easier to handle. And the way I do this is I'll take a piece of tape and I'll just put it real loose, like right here on the leg. It's kind of loose like that, and use my skewer to push it into place where I want it to go. And I leave it loose so I can get the tape to go where I want. Just like this. Again, people say, why don't you use silly putty? Because, well, I want a sharp edge right here. And that's why I'm not using silly putty. I'm just using my fingernail a little bit to kind of get it where it needs to go. Just like that. And I take my blade and we're just gonna just drag it right along the crease there. Like that. And then we'll pull the tape off. Just like that, and then we'll go back around and seal it in a little bit better, and if any areas I miss, I'll just go back and add a little more piece of tape, but that looks pretty good. And we'll just continue around the leg. Actually, I'm able to do this without cutting. Let's see. If I get thinner tape, 1 second. Get some thinner tape. Still Tamiya tape. I'm actually going to take this off, I think, and do it this way. Well, I did take a little paint off there. Did I take any paint off? Oh no, we're good. Okay. So I got this thin tape right here. And this I can kind of maneuver easier where I want it to go. Just gonna pull some off here. The trick is getting the statue to stay where I want it while I put the tape where I need it. Oops. Well, that didn't work so well there, did it? There we go. It's working pretty good. Wrap it around, push it in place a little bit at a time. Just gonna kind of let this, I'm not gonna worry about this little area right there right now. So I'll do one and then I'll pause and come back. We don't have to endure watching me mask, but a lot of people ask me, how do you mask? Well, here you go. This is one of several ways to do it. All right. And that boot is masked. At least that the edge is masked, I should say. I'm not actually masking the boot, I'm masking the leg. And just pushing the tape right to get a nice edge. So, oops, sorry, put the camera. So I went a little onto the boot here, so I'm going to take my blade and cut off the excess. It's not much. It's like the width of a hair, but you'll notice it. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, instead of putting tape all over this thing, we get some saran wrap. Cover that leg up with saran wrap. I'm going to end up covering the whole statue. First one's going to cover the leg. I'm pretty messy with this stuff. I just make, as long as I get it all covered, I don't care what it looks like. That's all that matters. And then I'll take this and I'll try to take that edge. A little too messy. Nothing's worse than spending a lot of time masking, doing a lot of paint work, and then you go to unmask and realize that you missed a little spot. I've done that several times. It's frustrating because you have to go back and touch up the part that you didn't quite mask up all the way. Alright, so there's that boot. I'm going to pause and come back and show you the rest when it's done. Alright, so here is the body all masked off. I kind of went crazy with the saran wrap, but I've got a lot of work on that gray paint and I don't want to get any blue on it. So I'm going to put that to the side for now. I don't want to crush my grappling hook, which is over here. And now we're going to work on the face. And what I'm going to do is, I was going to use silly putty on this, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use masking tape. Even though I just kind of painted this. We'll see if this works or not. We'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my media tape here. I'm going to put on my pants here. And I'm just going to basically de-tack it. I'm going to put my pants, take it off once or twice. Just so it's not so sticky. And we should be okay. So can tell real quick if I put this on there, and it's pretty good. Same thing, I'm going to put this in there. Hey kids! Let the dog in! Sorry about that. My dog's whining. So now I'm just going to take my skewer and kind of push it along the cowl here. And this is why you want to leave the tape loose so you can push it where it needs to go. Just like that. And then we'll take my blade and real carefully. Again, I'm not putting any pressure on the blade, I'm letting the blade do the work. Because I need a new blade. They didn't cut the tape one single bit. So let me get a new blade. And that's why you need a new blade, so it'll actually cut the tape. You don't want to be putting pressure on it while you're cutting, because the blade will slip. I buy these blades on Amazon in boxes of 100. I bought 2 boxes. I guess it was about 2 years ago, and I haven't gone through a single box yet. So it's the X-Life blades. I've mentioned it before several times. Yeah, I'm just gonna put this tape on my pants once or twice, kind of get the tackiness off of it. Hopefully you can kind of, even in this camera, the skin tone doesn't look right on the camera. In person looks good. Try this again. I'm going to use a thinner tape. It's not going where I want it to go. So I'm just having a hard time manipulating it the way I want. With a thinner tape. There we go. Now it's doing what I want it to do. Luckily, this is the only skin tone on this whole kit. Because, like I say, skin is challenging for me still. Still really learning how to do it. I learned a lot from that very first Punisher I did. He was really orange. So I kind of learned not to do that. Get a brand new blade. Real light touch. There we go. Okay, just going to follow it around. I just kind of let the tape do its own thing. I try to push it where I want, but if it doesn't want to go a certain direction, I don't force it, because then you'll get lifting edges, and you don't want that. So if you're trying to push the tape in a direction it doesn't want to go, don't force it. Just get in there a little small piece of tape and continue on. I was trying to take this piece and wrap it over the nose here, and it wasn't wanting to go, so I wasn't going to force it. I'll cut that little excess off right there underneath the nose of the cowl. just using my skewer to kind of push the tape where I want it to go. And if there's any overlap, I'll cut it off once I'm done. All right there, there's not a big lip. It's a very shallow detail right here. The cowl comes underneath the chin. There it is. Just can't see the edge. Alrighty. Good, so it's all masked on the side here. Underneath the chin looks good. This side looks good. Just a little sliver overlap right here. We're going to take care of. Okay, now I just got to trim it up underneath the nose of the cow. Kind of hard to tell where to cut. I think right there. I think that's it. Do have to mask. There's a little bit of his nose that's coming out from underneath the cowl, so I have to mask that off too. Just noticing that. It's very small. I think just a little, I can just do a little triangle of tape. It should cover it up pretty good. So I'm just going to cut some off the side over here. I have to do 2 triangles. His nose is poking out just a little bit. Actually, how am I going to do that? It's really small. It's a very small raised detail. So what I'm probably going to do is just cut a bunch of little strips. I'm doing that off to the side here on my table. Kind of like giving him a nose job. Let's see if that works. Covered enough? Not quite. It's gonna be a tough little masking job right there. A little bit of nose sticking out from underneath. I don't mind if it overlaps the mask a little bit. I can always touch that up. What I can't touch up is the skin. At least not very easily. I think that'll do it. It's a little bit of tricky masking right there. Okay. That should do it. Okay, so now I got the outline all masked. And now I'll just throw a couple pieces of tape across the front here. Again, I'll tack it a little bit. My pants. Now what we can do is we can go spray some base coat for the blue. And I bought a bunch of paint tonight, so we're going to test it out on the base coat first. The trick with the blues, I've got to do each step. Whenever I do one step to one piece, I've got to do it to all the others so it matches. Okay. There we go. And the eyes will get painted white later with watercolor, so I'll do that at the end because I'm using lacquer paints. If I mess up on the eye color with the white, it will be easy to fix. It's watercolor. And that little nose area may be tricky. I have to go back and touch it up after I'm done painting because it's... Alright, so now we're going to go back in the spray booth and we'll start working on the blue. Alright, we're back in the spray booth. And I went and bought a bunch of paints tonight for the cape. So Mark's wanting a darker tone of blue. So I found this nice kind of... it's called Thunderbird's Blue. I think that might be a nice base coat. I might start with, I thought about starting with the base coat of black. I may do that still actually, which I can do that with the primer, with Stone Res primer. One second. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit everything with the coat of Stone Res black primer first. Work my way up. So put some Stone Res primer in the airbrush. Get all this stuff out of the way, and I'm going to check my masking one more time on the boots before I start spraying anything. Make sure that the edges all look good. Make sure I don't see any of the rest of the suit poking out anywhere. So I do not want it to try to go back and touch up this gray, sorry. So, alright, I think we're looking pretty good. I put a lot, I mean, I wrapped this sucker like 3 or 4 times, so got a tack rag here. I'm going to wipe down all the surfaces. Try to get as much dust off as possible. And I'm going to, I need to pump up my air pressure back to about 20 for this stuff. There we go. good. Don't need a lot, just need to cover up the gray really. So a nice even base coat to start with. I'll use this as my dark shadow, and I'll use that Thunderbird blue kind of as a mid-tone. Okay, we'll work our way up from there. I need a bigger spray booth. I need more height. It worked great for Gundams and stuff, but now that I'm doing these big statues, man, I need more height. I need like a vertical. I need a spray booth about 24 inches to 36 inches tall. I guess, yeah, this was really not designed to do that. I've actually talked to this guy from Pace Enterprise, sorry, Peacemaker, and he said he'd make me a custom one within my needs, so I need to talk to him. I spoke to him at Wonderfest this past year. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to set him aside. Go outside and put him down real quick. Yeah, I missed a little bit. Hold on. Just noticing I can see some gray. So put him down. Head. And just want to check my masking real quick before I start spraying anything. Wipe it down, try to get as much dust off as possible. And that looks pretty good. Happy with that. Through that fast. Kind of missed my airbrush when I went to go pour that in. Gun, grappling gun. Actually, let me do that last, I think. Let's do this hand, the one that grabs the cape. Spray the socket first. tricky one's going to be the cape, because it's really big. This room's fairly small for what I'm doing. I should have done this first, like the last one I did. Same color. Good. And then the grappling gun hand. Grappling gun will get masked off and sprayed later. And they even hand painted, I don't know. We'll see. Got some nice details in there, so I'll do it a couple tones. Some dark metallic tones. I don't want too bright because he's Batman. He wouldn't have a bright Gatling gun. Not Gatling gun, grappling gun. Batman doesn't use a Gatling gun. He doesn't kill. That. I want it to dry. Let me get the cape in here and see how I can do this. So this will be tricky because it's freaking big. I'm gonna move my camera actually, like up here, I think. You can kind of see a view of my spray room now. How big or how little it is. So I'm going to wipe this down. Try to do this once again. Always fighting dust. My friend Jim and Boo mentioned a dry booth. I would need a dry room, to be honest, with the amount of stuff I'm always doing. A dry, you know, not like a little dry tub or something. I need like a level 3 clean room. I see they're just getting bigger and bigger. Much bigger than any Gundam I built. Okay. I'm going to spray the inside first. And I may go to my Grex. Let's see. I've already got this one dirtied up. We'll use this one. I just like the Grex, so it has a bigger cup. These little waters only hold 10 mils. The Grex, I think, holds 15 on the big cup. So I'm using my Yi camera, and I got my cell phone here. I can see what I'm doing. I can finally see what I'm shooting. Now, the only problem with this Yi cam that I have is it does not have the option for an external microphone, so the sound's not going to be as great. But I think, you know, I didn't want to spend $500 or $600 on a GoPro or anything like that, or you know, even the highest end Yi is like $300. I just want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing, so that's why I got this one, and it was inexpensive. It was $100, so and it shoots HD and all that fun stuff. See, this thing's a bear to maneuver. try to get underneath the neck area. It's pretty challenging. Man, I keep saying this. If you haven't tried Steinway's primer, do yourself a favor and get some, man. It is really, really a great product. I was a skeptic at first. When I first saw this and I first tried to spray it. Once I used it a few times, I was converted. I'm not sure if this would work real well, like on a Gundam or anything that's small, like a 1/100. It seems like it's fairly thick. You can thin it with distilled water. I never have, but then again, never tried on anything really small. But I think it's maybe a little thick for like a Gundam or something like that. But I know guys that use it on plastic model kits, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe it shrinks down enough for small stuff like that. I can't speak from experience. Primer. So I hope you guys don't mind this long build series on this kit. Each video is an hour or longer. So, as I make a mess trying to do that one-handed over here. Primer all over the outside must be good. I'm actually going to turn my fan off for a second. My spray booth has been acting up lately. They're wanting to shut down after a little while. I need to call to find out what's going on with that. It just may be overheating in this little room. And this is acrylic, so I'm not too worried about like fumes or anything. Okay, so right here on the back of the cape, there's this. Now it's way far away because I'm on that camera, but this is this point of contact on the back of the kit. It's right here, so I can see where it hit a little bit. So even though I kind of figured out a way to put the cape on with minimal damage, I think it's a good idea that when you put the cape on, you maybe put a piece of tissue paper or something between, you know, Batman and the cape and stuff, and the base until you get it on there, and adjust it the way you want, just to avoid any bumping and stuff. Because you probably will end up bumping a little bit. I don't think you can avoid it. So that's the inside. I need to let this dry a little bit so I can handle it and get the outside sprayed. The inside looks good. Just double check it, make sure I get even coverage everywhere. Get the edges. Alright, so I'm going to pause and we'll come back. Actually, I want to show you how I'm hanging the cape. I've got a coat hanger going into the neck upside down. That way I can hang the cape up and spray it, and I'll figure out a way to hang it up from here to let it dry too. Okay, as I wait for that black downward rest to dry a little while I was at the hobby shop earlier this evening, I bought some Testors rattle can bronze. Mark's asked for the plaques to be bronze, so this is the first step, because this is going to be the base coat, but then we're going in, and similar to the gray, I'll do some washes and stuff to dull it, to kind of weather it a little bit. So this is just the initial color, and I couldn't find a color that I wanted in an airbrush. I was leaning more towards the copper, which is warmer, so I may base coat with this and just kind of go in and do some little splotches of copper on top to maybe kind of make it look a little mottled. So we'll see. So first I'm just gonna base coat all the plaques in bronze first. See how this looks. A lot of metal flake. But man, it looks good. Looks like bronze. What you wanted. Goes all around. And I got this also because it's a lacquer, not an enamel. Enamels take forever to dry, like weeks to cure. Yeah, that looks pretty good. But I think I will probably eventually go in there once that dries for a while. Kind of just splotch some copper on top of it. I want it a little bit warmer than that, because when I go in to do the washes, it's going to dull down quite a bit. Because these have all sorts of great detail in them, and the washes will pick that all out. Oops. Good thing that wasn't painted all the way. That would have been a disaster. Tell you what, rattle cans are cheap. Whoever just use rattle cans, kind of doing yourselves a disservice, because this one can was like $8. Okay, yeah, looks good. It's turned pretty light. Not putting it on real wet. This has a lot of texture in it, the sign does. Alright. Got it pretty good, yeah. So that's what I'm going to do for the signs for the first step. Alright, so I let the bronze dry on the plaques a little bit, and what I'm doing now is I'm going in with this Vallejo copper, and I'm not covering the whole thing. I'm just kind of misting it on there to shift the color a little bit warmer. Because right now it looks more kind of like a gold, like an old gold. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not covering. I'm just kind of really just misting this on there. I just want to shift the color a little bit, so I'm just kind of doing this, and then I'll seal this, and then I'll do a wash tomorrow. It'll need to dry overnight before I can do a wash and bring in all those details. But again, I'm just kind of misting this on. I don't want the plaque copper. I just want it to be, and plus it just kind of gives it some variation in tone. If it's just kind of misted and randomly put on like this, it's not all the same color. I really like these Vallejo liquid metal colors. They're really, really nice. They hand brush beautifully. They airbrush right out of the bottle. So I just did that, and that just gives it some tonality variation, and to me that looks more like bronze. So I'll seal these tonight with Probably the tester's dull coat, because it doesn't really dry real dull. Actually, I have a luster finish. I'll probably seal it with a luster. That way it doesn't get totally dull. And then I can put a wash on tomorrow to bring in all these details. So I think that's it for this video. I'm going to call it done because I sprayed a color test for Mark on a spoon, which is this guy right here, which is the Stein Rose Black. And then I laid down Mr. Color number 328 as a highlight. And then I went in on top of that and I added intermediate blue number 72. And then I went back and just misted on the 328 to kind of blend it. And this looks really good. The artwork is a little brighter. The artwork is probably more like this, but I think this is too blue. I kind of like this. It's more menacing looking. So just waiting to hear back from him, see what he says on that, and then I'll be able to go further on. I'll be able to move on to the blue. And once the blue's done, that's a big hurdle because that's a lot of the kit. So as always, thanks for watching these long videos. I appreciate it, and I hope you find these things helpful, and maybe you learn something. But as always, this is Matt Mrozek. Catch you guys next time. Bye.